Arsenal performance tonight, other than Ospina made sure it wasn't 10-1. That's all I can think of that's a positive thing from tonight's match. Absolutely appalling. Arsenal must make changes going forward. Otherwise, they're going backwards. 08717 223344. Come on, National Radio, have your say. Jay?
Good evening.
Good to see you again as well, by the way.
Good to see you
How
as
are you
well.
feeling?
I'm better.
Has that result
better.
cheered you up then?
Well, mildly, I suppose. I mean, it was expected. I mean, I didn't expect it. I didn't think it would be the brutal thrashing that it turned out to be, but I think we all expected that Bayern to get over the line ahead of Arsenal, but not like that.
What's happened? Where do they go from here? They can't. I said to you outside, Jay, there cannot be one Arsenal fan on the planet that doesn't want change. And you went, no, they're out there. And I was like, no, there aren't. There are none.
But it's always difficult after a defeat like that, when actually at half-time...
It's not like that, Jay. It's been like that for a long, long time.
I'm only coming from this point of view. I mean, judging from the last 6 years, why would you change anything? Nothing's changed in that last 6 years. So they didn't make a change. I mean, I know he signs 2-year contracts. So there's, 2-3-year contracts in that period? As a business, Arsenal are a brilliantly run football club. But on the pitch, it's the same old story every single year. And we said this at the beginning of October, around the time when Arsenal actually looked like they were going to get the season up and running. And I always felt the same problems existed because it's the same manager, the same mentality. They're good players. You can't say they don't have a good squad. You simply can't say that because they do. But the mentality, it's men v boys. We saw the same at Stamford Bridge a couple of weeks ago. You can bully Arsenal. Once you get on top, mentally they are weak. Physically they are weak. And once you get ahead of them, they just crumble. And that's what we saw tonight. Same Arsenal. When it comes to the real crunch, up against top quality opposition, Arsenal go missing. It's as simple as that. And I do fear, unless that they say fear, I mean, it won't change until they change the man at the top. The mentality has been the same for too long.
Well, we're here to take calls, so let's jump straight into it because lots of you want your say. 08717 223344 if you want to have your say. Peter has dialed us and he's first up tonight. Peter, good evening to you.
All right, Jason.
All right, Pete.
Nice to speak to you again, mate. Listen, I just heard you speaking just now. You've hit it on the head for the last couple of weeks. I hate to agree with you because, you don't really like Arsenal too much. But at the end of the day, Arsene Wenger come out last week and he said he wanted Arsenal supporters to be like Tottenham supporters. Well, I'm begging Arsene Wenger to be a bit more like Alex Ferguson and admit he has got weak and inconsistent players in about 5 or 6 different positions on our pitch. And this is the be-all and end-all of Arsenal Football Club. You can't carry 5 or 6 players, and we need men. We've got no men in our team.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's not those leaders that Arsenal have in the past when they've been dominant in English football and won big honours, and they've had leaders throughout the whole of the team. There's no leaders in that team. I feel for Sanchez. I think of all the players, and Ospina tonight. Ospina, he has proven he is a top class goalkeeper, and without him, you made the point at the top of the show, it could have been double figures, and that is no joke. It could have been double figures. He was that good tonight.
Let's speak to Richard. He's an Arsenal fan in Heathrow. Richard, good evening.
How you going? All right?
Yeah, good, Rich. Go on in, pal.
Well, where do I start? First of all, I just can't understand why Arsene Wenger cannot see what the world and its wife can see all the time. The formation of that team, the setup of it, we don't have to go and try and win both legs. Like we did it defensively. He is clueless. Why play Gibbs in that position against Robin? And when Gibbs was getting roasted, Wenger looked like a deer that had been caught in the headlights. He couldn't change anything. Tactically, he's just not up to that high level of management that he's up against now, the likes of Ancelotti, the likes of everybody. Our players simply aren't good enough. They're simply not fit enough.
Richard, why wasn't Welbeck playing instead of Iwobi?
Well, that's a massively great question because I asked the same question. I thought to myself, you know what I'd like to have seen? You might think I'm mad. I'd like to have seen us play 3 at the back, 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, and shored up the midfield and played Welbeck up front with Sanchez. I'd have dropped Ozil I wouldn't have had him in the team. I wouldn't have played Iwobi where he is and exposed Gibbs. And I mean, on midfield, you could drive a tractor. Thiago absolutely ran it. And the thing is that within 5 minutes of watching that game, when we couldn't get the game, our manager sat there with his head in his hands and he didn't know what to do. And the thing about it is he no longer knows what to do. Our players aren't going to... If he thinks Coquelin is up to that type of class, then he shouldn't... it's time for him to go because he cannot see what everybody else can see. And he's killing us. Being beaten 5... I mean, all right, he messed my bet up because I thought I backed Bayern to win 4-0. That's how I felt about going into that match. And that's how so many of us feel. And he's got not a leg to stand on. When people like Neville and all the other pundits come out and say he deserves better for what he's done for us, what he done for us was 13 years ago, 12 years ago. And what he's doing to us is now. And he's got to sooner or later wake up and smell the coffee. It's time for him to go. He's out of his league. He's out of his comfort zone now, tactically, physically. I mean, a hamstring. Koscielny goes off with another hamstring. How many players really lost their hamstrings? I know I'm ranting, but I'm ranting about the same things. It's killing us all. He's got to go. Everyone can see it. You can see it in his face now. He will be gone. There's no way in the world he'll stay on after the end of this season. I'm completely confident of that.
I'm not so sure, Richard. Thanks for your call. Let's jump straight to Dan. He's an Arsenal fan. Dan, good evening.
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, off you go, Dan.
Yeah, basically, I thought there was at one point in that first half, we was in the game, without a doubt, and Neuer was making some good saves, and we forced him into making saves. However, Koscielny's injury changed that game for me. We haven't, Gabriel's just not good enough. It's that simple, I think. And Koscielny going off was a massive pivotal point for me. Massive point.
So I won't disagree with that because actually Arsenal ended the first half better, and I thought the stronger of the two sides. But the problem that you've got with that is that are you saying now that without one player, Arsenal go from being a good team against an excellent team in Bayern to a side that just completely get ran over? And it's more to it than that. That was a factor, but I mean, in the middle of the parks, the previous callers made the point, and some of the mistakes on the edge of the box. Would Koscielny have made those? Would it have been 5? Possibly not, but you couldn't see anything else other than that second half performance than Bayern winning.
I think Gabriel is just not up to that standard, and he didn't have a clue when he went out. He's had some good games for us, but generally he's not a Champions League player. And when you've got a man like Koscielny, probably the only leader on the field, apart from Sanchez, it's a tough one. It's a tough one when you lose that sort of player.
Thanks for your
I mean, for one player to have made that much difference tells me the squad's not nowhere near good.
But also, it's down to the manager to buy backup. You look at some of the top boys, some of the top clubs, they haven't just got one great centre-half and that's it. They have 2 or 3 or even 4. It's a squad game. Let's not forget that. Richard's an Arsenal fan. Richard, good evening.
Hi there, all right.
Yeah, can you turn your radio off, please, Rich?
Yeah, will do.
Yeah. Have you done it?
Yeah, done it.
OK, off you go, pal. What do you want to say?
All right, yeah, I'm just really just trying to reflect on getting Xhaka in for 30 million and then Kante goes to Chelsea from Leicester. I think that was a massive miss there. I think Arsenal should have been more astute in what they were, looking at buying him. And
where would you go, Richard? Where would you go, Arsenal or Chelsea?
Oh yeah, it depends on the money.
Well, yes, it does. If they're both offering the same, though, you go to Chelsea, don't you? It's an awful line there. I mean, that's the problem, Jay. If you've got a player that's in demand and 2 clubs come in and one has a history in recent years of winning stuff and one doesn't, there's no decision to be made. You
are talking about possibly one of the best holding midfielders in the world in Kante. And he was available, yes. And I think, there are... you look at the price Chelsea paid, it was a steal, absolute steal. But those type of players don't hang around. Those type of players aren't hanging off trees. It's simply Arsenal need to get their recruitment right. And like I said, they're 4th in the table. They're not a bad team. They're 2 points off second. We're not talking about a bad team. The problem that Arsenal have is the mentality. Even if you were to play Welbeck tonight, it's the same mentality. It is, let's get top 4. When we get to the last 16, every football fan knew this was coming. We all know So Arsenal fans will have trouble agreeing with this, but deep down, they all knew this was going to happen. They'll finish top 4. I
don't know if that's guaranteed, actually, this year, if I'm being honest. I think for the first time in a long time, that's under threat.
It always seems to be under threat, but they always seem to find a way. This is Arsenal. This is what Arsenal do. Arsenal will find a way.
I don't know.
Well, we will, the only time will tell them. And
so you say they're 2 points off second, but they're only 2 points off sixth.
Of course. I mean, the race for those top 4 places is remarkable this year. But I just think it's upstairs. There's nothing technically. These are good players. Yes, I think they lack steel and leaders. That's evident. But mentality of this team is ingrained, and until the manager goes, I think we're going to continue to see it.
Arsenal fans want to hear from you tonight, obviously. I've got a list in front of me I made up of 11 possible replacements for Arsene Wenger. I mean, you only need one. I think there's one in that 11, so you can find out and tell me who you think should be the new manager. And also, Arsenal fans, I want to hear from you tonight. If there's any Arsenal fan out there that actually thinks Arsene Wenger is the right man for the job. A few people in the office have told me they exist, these fans. I don't think there's one. 08717 2222.